Greetings, metalheads and rageheads indeed. This is No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George, and if you haven't figured it out already, today I'm reviewing the wonderful new EP from German heavy metal, power metal legends, one of my favourite bands of that style, the Mighty Rage. This is Spreading the Plague. This is a 6-track EP following on from a couple of years of a couple of fantastic releases. We had, certainly most notably last year, Resurrection Day, an absolute stormer of an album, a real career-defining moment for them, and one of my favourite albums of 2021, absolutely. But this is a lovely little tie-over piece here, Spreading the Plague, with that very old school thrash artwork. That's the first thing that I noticed about this one. It does remind me of that old gritty sort of apocalyptic nuclear war thrash artwork. Definitely love that artwork. That's a good one. So you've got 6 tracks, as I've mentioned here. You've got 3 new original tracks. You've got an acoustic version of a track from previously mentioned Resurrection Day from last year. You've got a re-recording or an embellished version of a classic track, and then you've got a live from the Cave track. So kind of live in lockdown track. But you know what? This feels like all original, not just trying to get some material out for the sake of it. More of a stopgap, rather than just filling a gap for the sake of it. And as I say, I love Rage. I think they're a fantastic band. I have collected all of their albums, all of their studio albums, and loads of EPs and bits and pieces over the years. And I think they're one of those bands that are just criminally overlooked. So, and if you're not familiar with them, if you like heavy metal and power metal, this is as good a place to start. Checking them out, get yourself some serious heavy metal fix. So, I'll have a closer look at some of these tracks here. I'll just quickly mention this because when you talk about Rage, really it's a bit of a Megadeth situation where you've got that one guy, that main front man. In this case, it's Pevi Wagner, who provides the vocals and bass work. He is a great bassist, definitely, but he's a very iconic vocalist as well. Alongside him, we have Stefan Weber on guitars. We have Gene Borman on guitars and backing vocals. And then we've got, trying not to butcher the pronunciation here, Vasilios Lucky Maniatopoulos. Sorry if that's an absolute butchering of the pronunciation. I do apologise. But it's a very tight unit. Very good musicians. The instrumentals here are phenomenal. We kick off the EP with To Live and To Die, which, no pun intended, is an absolute rager of a track. Heavy metal, charging riffs, just full on heavy metal, speed metal attack. Killer guitar work, absolutely amazing stuff. Solos off the scale. Pevi does a fantastic vocal performance as well. It is definitely a heavy metal, speed metal track. The title track, the second track there, Spreading the Plague, is definitely more of a power metal track. We've got a lot of big melodies, great big chorus there, huge chorus, plenty of hooks. Very memorable stuff. Drumming is amazing, it's very driving, keeps the pace in that traditional power metal style. But the riff work, the solos, the leads, amazing stuff. Absolutely killer stuff. In the vein, in my mind anyway, of, if you're not familiar with these guys anyway, the likes of Brainstorm, even Bloodbound, bands like that, where you've got plenty of melody. It's heavy metal, but it's power metal as well. Not quite on the Twilight Force spectrum, but shall we say closer to Halloween, for example, or as I mentioned, Brainstorm. But that's a solid track, a really worthy title track, big chorus, big melodies, great instrumentals. Then we get another Fast and Furious number. We've got The King Has Lost His Crown. Now that is a phenomenal track. It's very thrashing, fast and furious, as I mentioned. Killer guitar work there, amazing solo. Pevy's vocal performance is fantastic. Very hooky, very catchy stuff indeed. It's almost, in my mind, a bit of a merger stylistically. We've got a bit of a Megadeth feel, but then in some of the galloping riff work, we've got a bit of an Iron Maiden vibe going on there. So neither of those are bad things. We've got some great thrashing heavy metal. Killer. So, onto those additional tracks. The non-original studio material, shall we say. We've got an original, I guess, a acoustic version of A New Land, which was, as I mentioned, previously released on Resurrection Day. This version, this acoustic version, is an absolutely beautiful piece of work. The guitar work, the acoustic guitars there are amazing. It's almost tear-inducing stuff. Pevy does an amazing vocal performance here, really clear delivery, and it's a really moving piece. It's one of those tracks where the guitar work themselves, the beautiful melodies, they pluck on your heartstrings, and you could almost shed a tear, just the sheer beauty of the instrumentals there. It's a really lovely track. Complete contrast to track number 5 there, which is The Price of War 2.0. Now, The Price of War was a track originally recorded and released on a classic album of Rage's called Black in Mind. A heavy album, a great album, but this is turned up to max. This is thrashing speed. This is heavy metal. We've got killer crunchy riff work. We've got great chorus, definitely, but we've got riffs coming out of our ears here, and it is just killer stuff. It's the sort of stuff that you can just stick it in the stereo, crank it up to 11, crack open a beer, and thrash like a maniac. Great stuff. Absolutely love that version. And then we've got Straight to Hell, a track which was released on, I think it's Welcome to the Other Side, if my mind serves me. But that's a good song, and it's live from the cave, so it's one of these, I assume it's one of these sort of, shall we say, live in lockdown, live from the studio things. Really good track. It's a good original song. We've got almost like a bluesy bass line intro, and then we've got big sweeping guitar riffs there. Great stuff. Plenty of groove, plenty of great chugging riff work as well. Just a really good song. An interesting track actually to have chosen to do as a live from the cage version for this little EP, but it's as good as the next fan favourite track, I suppose. So there you have it. Spreading the Plague. If you like Rage, you'll love this. This is just Rage. This is Pevy and company delivering more of the goods. If you're not familiar with Rage, but you like heavy metal, power metal, traditional metal, speed metal, if you just like metal, then there's not much to go wrong with here. Rage are a killer band. So check it out, give it a chance. It's about half an hour long, I think. It's well worth your time, well worth the deafening check it out. Not one to be missed. Let me know what you think of this fine release. I'm very interested to hear. Check back soon for more reviews, recommendations of all things good and heavy, my friends, and as always, feel free to like and subscribe. You take care. Stay heavy.